Okay, in this section, we're going to talk about building rapport with clients. Rapport is so important. Last video, I talked about that mindfulness state where you're being mindful, only focused on your client and giving them all your attention. Honestly, that builds rapport because in this world with our electronics, for parents to be super mindful of their kid and just be with them, it of course happens, but it doesn't happen as much as maybe in the past when we didn't have all these devices. Kids love when someone's attention is 100% focused on them and what they're doing. If you use that mindfulness, a lot of times it just builds rapport because the child's like, oh my gosh, you're very interested in me. You really want to play with me. You want to talk with me. You want to be with me, and you're only focused on me, and that builds rapport. Your first session with any client should be rapport building. It should only be the fun stuff and things they want to do. This builds trust and creates a positive, supportive environment for the client. There has been some sort of the idea is like pair yourself with fun. So you bring fun. And there's been some backlash against this that's a manipulation tactic to make clients like us so that we can engage in therapy. Here's the thing. If it's a true relationship between you and your client in the same way like teachers do this as well. Like the first few days of school are so much fun. They're doing art projects. They're doing like these name games. They might be doing a little bit of assessment just to see where these kids are, but they're doing dance parties. I can list off what my little first grader did on the first 3 days of school, and it was like a big party. That's so they build a relationship with that teacher who doesn't know those kids at all. It worked. He loves his teacher. If you're coming from a genuine place where you're going to really help this client and give them, I'll talk about assent and autonomy, and really work hard with them to build their independence, and you respect them as an individual person, it's okay to pair yourself with good things in the beginning so that they like you. I think it's totally fine to do that, even though there has been a lot of backlash against that idea. And again, those fun things, don't eliminate them after the first few times. You always embed them. You want to continue to have fun with that client. So understanding their preferences, knowing their interests, their strengths, and learning that before you get started is super important. And communication style, they love Paw Patrol. I bring Paw Patrol stickers, a Paw Patrol board game, and all this stuff that I can use during therapy. So it's a lot of fun for them. Provide positive reinforcement. Make sure you're always celebrating progress and making it a big deal. That always helps. Practice active listening. No matter what their communication style is, this also goes for parents. You want to do that kind of active listening where you're hearing what they're saying and responding appropriately to it. So we're going to talk about the importance of rapport. We're going to identify key strategies to maintain rapport, and we're going to learn practical techniques to build a positive relationship. I did school psychology initially, and we have a bunch of counseling classes. My first counseling class was all rapport building. We did a whole semester of how to build rapport with kiddos. A lot of times someone might be naturally good at this, especially those who have worked in educational childcare or something. You might already know how to do this, but sometimes it's new to somebody and they don't know how to build rapport with a child or an adult. It's very based on developmental level and their preferences. It's a harmonious trust bonding that facilitates open communication, enhances engagement, and ultimately leads to really effective behavior interventions. And I'll say this, there's been a lot of research on the effectiveness of talk therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, solution focus, all those types of therapy that psychologists use. The research says that only 15% of whether therapy's effective is technique, like which technique you use. Did you use cognitive behavioral? Did you use psychodynamic? And 40% is rapport. The biggest part of the equation is, do you have rapport with that person? If the child's hating therapy, you come and they don't like it. I had this kid who I'd walk in the door and be like, bye, 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 because he hated therapy. You're doing too much adverse things. You're trying to go too fast on those maladaptive behaviors. We need to slow down and focus on rapport. Once the child likes you and is invested in you, the behavior part comes a lot easier. The definition is a harmonious, trusting relationship between the RBT and the client, mutual respect and understanding, open and honest communication, consistency and reliability. And it builds trust. It also increases motivation. The more rapport we have, the more likely you are to get behavior change and get those, get goals met, get things done. And it has been shown to reduce challenging behavior during therapy. Core principle one is empathy. You want to understand and validate the client's feelings and experiences. And again, they might not be able to express this verbally, and that's okay. You need to look into the behaviors and understand what they're feeling from the behaviors you're seeing. Genuineness, it's being authentic. So if you're getting into this field to actually help people, if that is your primary goal and you find that rewarding, then this will just happen for you. If you're getting into this field for other reasons, like you're motivated by money, this is not gonna go as easy for you. Active listening. I'm definitely not saying that. I think we all need to be paid appropriately for any kind of work that we do. But that can't be the primary reason you're doing this. I'll tell you now, if that is, you're in the wrong field. Nobody in this field gets paid too much. Active listening is fully engaging in the listening process. A lot of this is mirroring. Mirroring is where you give off what you're getting. If you're getting really hyper excited talk, you give them back hyper excited talk. If you're seeing a sad demeanor, calm it down and go like, okay, tell me more about that. Keep your voice similar. It's also listening, processing what they say, asking appropriate questions, engaging in actions that reflect what you heard. Consistency, being reliable, predictable, and not changing things too much. Strategies, personalize your approach to the client, their strengths, their interests, their preferences. So if they want to talk about trains all the time and the train talk doesn't stop, you'll find that kid. I don't know what it is about trains. It always happens. You engage in that with them. You try to incorporate as much trains and train talk as you possibly can. I've learned a lot about trains just to engage in real conversation with them. I used to find train museums and do that just so I'd have more to talk to them about and take tons of pictures. So you want to personalize it in that way. Also, just their demeanor. You want to try to match their demeanor. You always want to use positive reinforcement, recognize and celebrate the success to boost confidence. So you want to engage in small talk, begin the session with light conversation or light play. They're nonverbal, then whatever they like to do, just playing, no contingencies, no therapy for a couple minutes could be the small talk. And then be really patient. Relationships develop gradually. It takes time to develop those relationships. The kids who were not buying into me, but eventually did, those were the best relationships, or the ones I remembered the most and were the most significant in my career as a behavior tech. So communication techniques, you want to make sure you're clear, simple language for kids, open-ended questions to encourage dialogue. You want to maintain eye contact and show body languages, smiles and nods to show encouragement. You also want active feedback. So reflect back what you hear, confirm you understand them. All this can go for behaviors too. So they're getting really upset, though they can't say that, say they're non-speaking, you can say, hey, I understand you're getting upset right now. Let's try this. So you can still do all these things even if they're non-speaking by using their behavior as language. Adapt to client cues. So this is the mirroring. You want to adjust to their communication style based on their preferences. So if they're super hyper and talk really excited, I do that back. If they're, kind of a slow talker, they take a long time to think, then we talk really slow. We take our time. Personalize the space. So you want to make sure you have preferred colors and objects. Be attentive. Change your strategies based on their reactions, and you want to foster autonomy. So you want to make sure they're always being able to express themselves and make choices during any session. Challenges in role play. Resistance happens. If you're getting resistance, back it up. Go slower. Do a whole session playing the game they like or doing things they like to do. No therapy, no contingencies. Think about culture because different cultures handle this differently. Respect and adapt diverse backgrounds. If you're unsure, embed yourself in that culture to understand it. Go to some community gatherings, talk to culture brokers. There are people within that culture willing to provide you feedback. Find those people and ask them questions to get more cultural sensitivity. Overcome miscommunications clearly. So you want to immediately adjust your approach when needed. And then you want to also really reflect on how you're doing. Am I building rapport? These are some role-playing ways to see that you're engaging in rapport. Before you start therapy or working as a behavior tech, you probably want to have some role plays. Greeting a new client, like what will you do? How will you body language? What activity will you immediately do? Handling frustration. So talk about that and what you're going to do. And then you want to continue to role play like active listening and positive reinforcement techniques. Integrated rapport building into daily practice. You also want to create a feedback loop. So regularly seek supervision and peer feedback on your rapport. So asking other therapists how you're doing, asking your supervisor how do you do it. You want to personalize the space, foster autonomy, and be able to handle the challenges. These are the key takeaways in this presentation. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next one.